Hey everyone, you're listening to the Simple Electronics Podcast. I'm your host, Dan, from the Simple Electronics YouTube channel. This episode is brought to you by PCBWay. More about that a little bit later on, because with me today, I've got a very special guest. I've got Ryan from Aecert Robotics. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. So for once, the algorithm worked in a small creator's favor and recommended me your video about finishing an Arduino-powered RC transmitter, which was interesting to stumble upon your channel on a finishing video.
Yeah.
But that video was crafted really well. So I'd like for you to tell us a little bit about who you are and a little bit about what you do, please.
Sure. So, day job, I do web dev, and I have a lot of hobbies. One is making YouTube videos about my hobbies. The others are game dev, tennis, golf, and video games, of course. But most recently, it's making robots, and that hobby specifically, people seem to like. So, yeah, I am currently making development videos about my robotics projects. I'm awful about talking about myself. Sorry.
Most makers are, so
Yeah.
don't worry about it. I'm here to guide you. So let's take the 50,000 foot view. So when you say robotics, right? I could hook a servo up to a popsicle stick and call it a robot. Can you explain what your first robotics project that you started on this YouTube channel is?
On this YouTube channel specifically is a hexapod, a 6-legged walking robot. Yeah. Any more questions?
Yeah. So looking from the very outside, right? I stumble upon this channel where someone had built a remote controller, right? And then I look at what the remote controller is for, and it's for a hexapod. So all I'm getting from this channel is some guy, and actually, if people will go watch your first video on the hexapod, which I'll link in the description, and I recommend they do go watch it.
I also recommend that. Yes, it's a pretty good video.
The video is basically like, so yeah, one day I wanted to make a robot, so I made a hexapod. Like, basically, you're going from zero to hexapod. So let's back up even before that. What is your history with building robotics?
That's a great question. So I went to school for computer engineering, which is basically computer science mixed with electrical engineering. And ironically, I didn't really like the electrical engineering part. I thought it was like really in-depth microchip stuff, like as in-depth as possible. Had like learning about the actual like AND gate, like the gates and stuff. It was just, I didn't care. I really didn't care. I really liked the coding part though. So I think 2-ish years in, I transferred to computer science, finished the degree, and so I got a degree in computer science. But during the computer engineering part, I did really like the times when we worked with robots, and we did. It was fun. I was always the one to program them. It was really fun. But yeah, anyway, I graduate. I work at a local small, like localish tech company. I still am there. And then I do my game dev YouTube journey, link in this description. But the videos weren't doing great-ish. I know why now in hindsight, but which is demotivating because like I'm making this game and no one cares about it. So like, what am I really doing? And I wanted to do a little project to kind of take a break from this game dev stuff. I'm cleaning my garage, find the robot kit from college. Doesn't work, of course, but it got me kind of back into it a little bit. I'm browsing Reddit. I get recommended, no offense, this shitty hexapod thing. It was cool. It was cool, but it made me think. I was like, I can do that so much better. So I did. I did, and well, watch the video. It turned out really well because my strength is what a lot of people who make robots, it's their weakness, which is with the programming. And I thought programming a hexapod would be really freaking fun. And it was. Building and designing the hexapod was the hard part. But yeah, that's kind of my, like, backstory. I didn't just wake up and decide to build a hexapod. Oh,
You kind of did.
I kind of did.
You kind of did.
I didn't wake up with the ability to build a hexapod. I had to. It's been my experience from 10 years that has allowed me to do it. And then like the 3D printing, I've been into 3D printing. The PCB stuff was completely new to me. What else is there?
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah. So yeah, that hopefully gives you a better idea.
Yeah, let's start from the beginning. So you decide to build a hexapod.
I was born 1996.
Such a younging.
Yeah.
So first of all, you see a hexapod on Reddit and you're like, yes, I think I can do better. And then like an absolute mad lad, you turn to what software to design your hexapod? Explain to the audience.
Literally forgot about that. So, in Gamedev, you make models in Blender. It's open source. Oh man, yeah, model. I don't even want to. I hate Blender. I hate Blender so much. It's not the right tool, but it's all I knew. So it's what I made. It's what I made the models in. How do you even describe Blender? It's what is it?
Okay, so Blender comes highly recommended for a sort of a soft modeling, like soft edge models. So if you wanted to design, let's say, a fuzzy teddy bear, you probably would want to pick something like Blender. But for engineering related stuff, there's a myriad of other options that are way better suited. You're not the only one who does engineering stuff in Blender. There's actually add-ons you can add to do.
Yeah,
stuff.
Yes. Oh, not the parametric add-ons. I was scared of that at the time, but the Boolean operation stuff that was pretty helpful. It's funny, like looking back, I should not have used Blender, but then I think, would I have even finished if I didn't use Blender? Because learning a CAD software was a huge hurdle, and that hurdle probably would have stopped me from finishing. So,
I think I would agree.
Yeah,
that's right. When all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, or when all you have is nails and whatever. I don't know how it goes for your specific situation, but I understand to use the stuff that you know, because as a maker, we all know that the hardest part of any project is getting started, right? Like going from the dream phase to actually like getting stuff done.
I was going to say, like, getting started is the easy part. Finishing, or rather, finishing is the hard part. Getting, like, once you hit a roadblock, it's so easy to just not come back to it. I don't know. Personally, starting new projects is the best part. But so like, oh yeah, go.
I think I get where you're coming from. Although my comment section would say that lots of people get stuck in sort of like the dreaming phase, like they never actually do stuff. Like they're asking me questions like, what kind of microcontroller should they use? Because they want to do this feature and this feature and this feature.
Yeah. And I agree with that too.
It
can be scary to start.
If
in that case, it's when you don't know anything. No offense to those people that came out. You know things, don't worry. But like about the project you want to make. If you really don't know anything, then how do you start? Like you can't start. You don't know. You don't know where to start.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so, so you absolute mad lad fired up Blender, and essentially, I don't know if you've ever seen that meme where it's like how to draw an owl, and then it's like, oh, first start with like a couple blobs and then draw the rest of the owl. That's kind of what you did with your hexapod. I mean, you started from essentially zero.
Yeah.
And you ended up at a really good spot where most people could have called it finished. But then instead of continuing, you learned a new piece of software and you restarted from scratch, and then you added your own electronics at that point, because at some point you ordered someone's PCB, and then you're like,
sort of.
Okay.
The very first PCB, it wasn't literally their PCB, but it was very similar. I made a few changes, but it was a nice starting point. This was basically as I was learning, how to use. I think at the time it was Easy EDA. I knew very little, so all I could do was like change like some pin locations and stuff. But yeah, and then I learned, right. I think the second version still used Easy EDA, but I actually made it from scratch myself. And then the third version, fourth version, etc., used KiCad. But yeah, you should, to give them credit, I think How to Mechatronics made a hexapod ant, and it was that PCB. That project showed me that this whole thing with using the Arduino Mega was actually possible, like powering 18 servos. That helped a lot, actually.
So my question, I guess, why Arduino? Is it because other people have been using like the AT Mega chips, or is it because something like an ESP32 or an STM32 is less has higher barriers to entry, even though they're more powerful?
Yeah, exactly. But mostly Arduino is literally all I knew. So again, with it's the only thing I knew kind of thing. I've used Arduino before. I don't think I used it in college. I got a little thing for Christmas that I messed around with. So, yeah, I wanted to stick with that. I knew I knew it had a lot of support. I did know it was underpowered, but hey, I mean, it's powerful enough to, power 18 servos. So
yeah, that's a lot of servos.
Yeah, 18. Geez, 18. Yeah.
So how do you get the 18? 3. Okay, so you get 3 per leg and then 6 legs.
Yep.
And then
exactly.
Again, because you're a mad lad, you're like, how am I going to control this thing? Well, there's this thing that I maybe heard of called inverse kinematics. Let me just look up a YouTube video real quick. And then you just went and drew the rest of the owl in the inverse kinematics. So let's explain to the audience what inverse kinematics actually is, and then tell us about your process of learning it.
Sure. So inverse kinematics is basically you input a position where you want the end effector, the foot of the end of the leg to go in 3D space. All right, that's your input, and the output is the rotations of each of the joints. That's it. That's what IK is, at least in my use case. So then you just need to do the math, which I don't like that part, but fortunately there's tons of resources online, and I, being someone who knows how to program, was able to take that math and, turn it into code. And it worked on totally the first try. Yeah. That's a true story.
Yeah. Watch the video, guys.
It took like 5 hours to get working, which is 4 hours too long, but
The AT Mega 2560 was actually powerful enough to calculate the real-time position of 3 legs at the same time?
Yeah.
6 legs.
So, yeah. 6 legs. Yep. It's I'm reaching its limits, but it works. Yeah, it can handle it, believe it or not. I don't even have a lookup table for all the sine and cosine equations. I probably should, but no, it is calculating it in real time.
So tell me how a lookup table would free up some CPU cycles then.
So I've never done it, but I'm pretty sure it would work. So basically, we're using trigonometry to calculate the different rotations, right? The idea is you have it pre-calculated, just like hundreds of values, and instead of calculating it, instead of the processor, calculating it, it would just look up the answer. It would definitely be quicker. Now, I don't care though. Like, there's no reason to do it because it works right now. So,
do you think that would affect Do you think the Arduino would have enough memory to store like lookup tables on essentially three axes, like the sine, the cos, and the tangent?
Yeah. I don't know. My guess is yes. The Mega has quite a bit of RAM compared to at least like something like the Uno. I don't know. I don't know the size of what a lookup table like that would be. So I'll let you know if I ever decide to implement that for this project. I might actually, because I'm going to be redesigning. Once I finish the remote control, I'm going to get back into the project and finish it, the Hexapod. I'll be refactoring the entire code base and redesigning the PCB. So I probably will implement the lookup table now that I think about it. Yeah. So yeah, I will let you know.
There we go. So stay tuned. Is there any thought about changing the brains of this to a faster microcontroller, like maybe an RP2350, I think is the new one that just came out? Or do you like the fact that the Arduino Mega, I think you're using the Mega embedded version or the Mega Pro or something like that?
The Pro, yep.
Do you just like the fact that that's more accessible for people, or do you think there is maybe a use for a newer, more powerful, faster micro?
I mean, it wouldn't hurt, right? For this project specifically, it's going to stay Arduino, or worst case, something like a Teensy or an ESP. But that kind of like pretends to be an Arduino. But I'm totally, for future projects, I don't think I'm using Arduino again. It's just pretty limiting. Limits are good, but but yeah, for this specific project, I'm definitely staying with the Mega Pro. Just
Do you think there's actually going to be an end to the Hexapod, or is it just something you're going to keep?
Yes,
sort of.
This specific Hexapod, yes. I mean, for every project, the goal is to like finish it, release a kit so other people can build it as well. So if it never ends, then oh my god, there'd be like 10 versions of it, and it would be like a nightmare. But I do want to make like a pro, like an upgraded version of this thing that just better everything. It would, including the price, but it would be a lot more expensive.
I mean, that just is what it is. High quality components are expensive. Already that you made the entire thing 3D printable already drops the barrier to entry pretty much as low as it gets. Like you can't get precise and jitter-free servos for like $1. It just doesn't work.
Nope. Yeah, the servos are off the shelf. They're not like $100 freaking, what's the servo brand that's like super expensive?
There's a bunch.
I don't know.
High Tech is one of them. Savox is another one. There's a lot. If you get into the RC car territory, the stuff gets very expensive very quick.
Dynamixel. Got it. That's the one I was thinking of. But yeah, you're right. There's a bunch. But yeah, like it's all 3D printed. It's using I specifically for the PCB. I'm not using what is it, SMD components,
surface mount.
Yeah, I'm not using that because at least me, and I assume others, don't have the means to actually like apply them, and then having PCBWay add them on is very expensive. No offense, PCBWay. You can probably get a coupon, to be fair, but so I design the PCBs for literally all through-hole components, which means you can just add them with a soldering iron. What else do I do? Yeah, I try to the feet have a spring in them that's 3D printed as well. I try really hard to limit the amount of parts you need to buy for this.
I love it. I would recommend though, if you are going to retool the PCB, to do a dual footprint. So have the through-hole footprint and the SMD footprint so that people, whatever they have in their junk drawers, they can just use for the project. Because if you're ordering in bulk, it's actually about half the price to get SMD stuff versus like through-hole stuff. However, we're talking about, $2.50 versus $5 if you're going to buy like 1,000 resistors. So it's not like that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, people may already have like 0805s resistors kicking around. I'm just an idea. I've started doing that with a lot of my PCBs, is to make dual footprints. And because like the through hole doesn't take like it, you could just use the inside of the through hole. You put just two little, like you put an 0805 pad in between the two holes. It doesn't add more space. It just it makes it cleaner, so that you could just install whatever you want.
So is the idea like if the user has the ability to install the SMD components, they could do that instead?
Correct. Yeah.
So like they have a heat plate and stuff, or however you do it. I don't even know, honestly.
Oh, I do it by hand, actually. I just put a solder blob, and then with a pair of tweezers, you just solder one end and then solder the other end. Good to go.
Aren't they like super tiny though?
They're not that bad, actually. 0805 is still, I don't need magnification for, and my eyes are getting kind of bad. When you get like smaller, like 0603, that's really small. But yeah, 0805 is very reasonable to do by hand. I've been actually, I haven't worked on it in a little while, but I have a kit here for a digital clock. But the clock is not made out of 7-segment LEDs. It's made out of like essentially a screen. I think it's 25 pixels by 64 pixels, something like that. And each of those pixels is an 0603 LED, and I've been hand soldering them just for fun.
Holy shit! Wow,
so that's a little bit much. 0603 is a little bit much. But yeah, my preference is SMD components. Makes the board look so much nicer.
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah. Okay. Huh.
Just a thought. Nothing that you're required to do, obviously.
No, I know. Yeah, I guess I didn't really realize there were like bigger SMD components and smaller ones. Yeah, that makes sense though.
1206 is the sort of like the quote unquote large size. That 1206 resistors are nearly the same size as a quarter watt through hole, but just no legs to it. So it's very, very small. I like them, but I have a full stock here of LEDs and resistors and caps, all in 0805 and some 0603. So just a thought.
I'm thinking about it right now. I don't know.
So
we will see.
I'm looking at your Hexapod, and there's a whole bunch of little design things that you added to it. So the springs in the legs is one of the things I'm talking about. But there's a whole bunch of things, and I actually would recommend people go watch your videos. They're quite short. They're quite bingeable. You can watch them back to back to back. Is there one sort of feature you added to your Hexapod that you're the most proud of that you want to talk about?
I'm very proud of the fact, this doesn't exactly answer your question. I'm very proud of the fact that I designed the entire thing with 0 supports in mind. Oh, gosh, I'm loading it up right now. I'm trying to think if you need any supports at all to print this.
I don't think so. I've been watching the videos.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
So just so people at home know what you're talking about. So when you design stuff for 3D printing, you typically want to design the thing so that the largest sort of surface of it sits flat on the 3D printer build plate. And then you want to design all the features that come out of it or are built on top of it to not require any support material to sort of like bridge gaps or whatever. So 3D printers are extremely good at sort of filling a hole with like a horizontal roof. Like they can drag a piece of plastic from one surface to another and make a full horizontal roof. But they are horrible at doing things sharper, acuter than about 45 degrees. As soon as you like have an overhang that's more than 45, the printer struggles. And what Ryan is saying here is that he's very proud that all of his designs lay flat on the build plate and do not require any supports, so you don't have to like peel them off after or waste material. Is that about right? Did I get the gist of it?
Yeah. Cleaning up prints that have supports you can justify it. It's not awful, but if the more you add, the worse it gets, and it's just it can sometimes if you don't care, if you just design a part and that with 3D printing not in mind, you will end up cleaning supports off potentially longer than the print was. Don't ask me how I know that. So the fact that the entire thing can just be printed and then you take it off the build plate and it's done. Aside from some things may require a brim that you need to cut or rip away, but aside from that, there's no cleanup. It saves so much time. It makes it so much easier to print, and I'm really proud of that fact.
It's a really good design consideration. So when you're designing things specifically for 3D printings, it's a good thing to keep in mind. And if I can just blow smoke up your butt a little bit here, just for an example, is that you wanted to put vents. Oh, I hit my mic there. You wanted to put vents on the holders for the servos.
Yep.
And I can see that those vents are diamond shaped in order to avoid overhangs. I mean, you could have done a horizontal cross, but then maybe other people's 3D printers aren't as calibrated, and then maybe there'll be some droop, and then the servo won't go in, but you designed it very purposefully as a diamond so that it wouldn't need any supports. And you don't even call this out in your videos. It's just something I noticed.
You're exactly right. You the diamond shape is I'm looking at it right now. There actually is a bridge, but it's very tiny.
Oh my God, how could you?
Yeah, I know. But yeah.
We can go to a couple of my favorite features, and maybe you can talk about those if you want.
So yes, okay. So that was kind of a cop-out answer. That wasn't like a specific thing. The springs are my favorite part of this hexapod. So they're completely 3D printed, and I actually split them up into two separate parts that get combined together with like a couple, I think just a single screw, because it wouldn't be printable if it was just one part. I'm looking at it. I probably could have kept it as one part, but the shaft that the shaft hole that the foot goes through would not have printed well. So yeah, that's why it has to be two. Oh, dude, the spring is so cool. Oh my goodness, I'm really happy I was able to figure that out.
Just a quick interruption to talk about this episode's sponsor, PCBWay. PCBWay has been a long-term sponsor of the channel, and I think they're a good match for my channel because they provide quality PCBs for a reasonable price. You can get boards manufactured up to 100 mils by 100 mils for just $5, including shipping to Canada, $15 US, including shipping to USA, $12 US, which is incredibly cheap for professionally manufactured PCBs. I can personally attest to the quality of these PCBs, and so if you want a circuit immortalized forever, check out PCBWay.com with the link in the description. Now back to the conversation.
It's a brilliant design. Let me try to paint a word picture here for the audience, but they are going to go check it out, right, guys? So basically the leg, I guess the claw, the very tip of the leg, has like a rubber bumper. Is it rubber? It's 3D printed, but it seems soft in your first.
It's a 3D printed thing, and then I have a rubber cap that fits around it.
Gotcha. So that thing slams down on the ground. Most of Ryan's videos shows him using it on the carpet, and then he got disaster when he tried on the hardwood floor because the forces are too high on the gears of the servos. So he designed a spring, totally 3D printed, to keep the cost down. But the spring is more fancy than you think because the little, like the claw, the tip actually has a shaft that goes all the way through the spring and is mobile in there and goes and hits a micro switch to tell the leg, I suppose, to tell the leg that it's touching the ground. And so it's fully 3D printed and fully functional. And actually, the process of the build that's in the shock absorbing feet video is actually really interesting. And Ryan, you actually called out PCBWay because they failed at printing a part for you in resin. Do you want to talk about that? So
in their defense, I was just testing. I didn't think it would work. It was very small tolerances. I just wanted to see what happened. So I hope I made that clear in the video, though.
Yeah, you did.
I wasn't. Yeah. Okay.
It printed in a solid block of resin, essentially.
It probably would have been too brittle anyway, even if it did print properly. But
yeah, there are some engineering resins that have flexibility, but I mean, you're starting to go up in cost here.
Yeah,
and so I think the fact that you Actually, I think your first one was in PETG and your new one's in PLA. Did you see a big difference between the two?
So the PLA Plus from AnchorMake, PETG is more bendy or more flexible. That's about, and maybe a little. I don't know if easier to print. Gosh, this is tough.
Yeah, PLA I think is a bit easier to print, but PLA Plus has a little bit higher
Yeah, the PLA.
temps.
It was interesting. I don't know. I just love it. I'm a huge fan of PETG, PETG, whatever. I always call it PETG. I love it. It's just my favorite. I don't know why anyone uses PLA, to be honest. PETG is just, oh my God. I guess if you want something that'll break instead of bend, use PLA. But otherwise, just use PETG always.
And in fact, PLA Plus adds a little bit of flexibility to the PLA, and it makes it a little bit more like PETG. Yes. So essentially, if your 3D printer is not super well tuned as far as stringing is concerned, PETG is just going to leave strings everywhere. So,
oh really? Okay.
If you don't want to hit that with a heat gun to get rid of the strings, then PLA Plus is your go-to. But I have both here in stock, and I'm actually pretty excited. This winter, I'm going to start printing in ABS for the first time. So, yeah.
Very nice.
I can't wait for that.
Don't breathe it in. I've never used it. I don't think I've ever had a printer with an enclosure. I don't even. Yeah.
I built my first one this year with a Nevermore filter inside, so it should be good. It's a Voron V0.
Nice.
So the whole goal with the Voron V0 was so I can play with adult Lego. I don't know if you know the Voron project at all.
I do.
Yeah, so I built the V0 so that I can play with adult Lego and then have a working machine at the end. And the goal is to use the V0 to bootstrap a 2.4 because I like printing large things. And Elegoo sent me a printer, a really big one, but it's a bed slinger. It's like a 400, I think it's 400 or 500 mil by 500 mil. Like
holy
bed
crap.
slinger. So
what is that? What's it called?
It's
not the
Neptune.
Giga. No,
it's a Neptune 4 Max.
Dang.
It's a big boy.
Where do you put that?
Yeah. Right now it's chewing up about a quarter of my workspace.
Oh my.
It's big. It's a big boy, but it has issues because at its price point, I think here in Canada, it's like $500 or something. So what's that in American? Like $200 or something like that?
I don't know.
So
400. I don't know.
Yeah. So essentially, I like it because the build volume, but the bed is so anemic. You have to preheat it for like 45 minutes, or else it just keeps changing shape as the print goes on. So
oh no.
Yeah. So it has its quirks, but it is what it is. I can't complain because it was, free 99.
Yeah. Have you gotten usable parts out of it that use the full bed?
Yes. Close to the full bed. I have a 3D printed remote control snow speeder, I guess. It's a 3-ski fan powered RC car.
Okay.
And this year, last year I was supposed to, but I printed it last year. But this year I'm going to really upsize it. So I made a gigantic frame piece, which uses almost all of the surface. So it's going to be huge. It's going to swing a 10-inch prop with I think it's 800-watt motor. It's going to be nuts.
Is this a snowmobile thing?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay. And when you say prop, do you mean the ski to turn?
So it uses think of an airboat, but on 3 skis instead of instead of a boat.
Okay.
I'll send you pictures of it later on, but there is a video up on my channel of the version 1.
Okay. I've been watching your channel quite a bit, but only the podcast, so I haven't seen any of your engineering stuff, ironically. But
yeah, fair enough.
I'll have to check that out.
Since you know a little bit of engineering, uses dual wishbone suspension on all three corners. I guess
I know what the word suspension means.
There we go. I'm a car guy, right?
Dual wishbone. Yes.
So you know what a wishbone looks like in a...
I do.
So essentially, just think of the dual points of the wishbone attached to the chassis, and then the single point attaches to a ball joint. So it uses two arms, one upper and one lower in a wishbone shape. It allows your suspension to travel further in its arc with a flatter sort
Got
of
you.
keeping the wheel flatter on a car. But on this, because the skis are flat, I thought it was quite important to keep the travel quite flat.
Mm-hmm.
So where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So the goal is to start ABS this winter when I'm not paying to actively cool my house. I'm paying to warm my house.
There you go.
And then bootstrap a Voron 2.4, so more adult Lego.
So okay, wait, do you have the 2.4 built yet?
No, I have the
You're
0.
making that. Okay, gotcha. And you're gonna gotcha.
Yeah, so the goal of the 0 is to have the
build
minimum
the 2.4.
Yes.
Yeah.
They designed it to be a more accessible 3D printer, and then the build volume is the bare minimum required to print every single part that you need for a 2.4.
How much did that cost? The first one?
I think it was like about 600 to 700 Canadian dollars for all of for a kit, essentially, from AliExpress. Because
what build volume do you need to build? I feel like you could buy like a Bamboo Labs A1 Mini or something, and like
you can.
No, you can't.
You can.
I would have done that.
Well, the issue is you have to print the parts in ABS because the chamber is heated in the 2.4, so everything will melt. But I think you need a 110 by 110 by 110 essentially.
Wow.
So
wait, is that how big your V0 is?
That's how big the V0
tiny?
is. Yeah, it's tiny.
That's so cute.
It's a little desktop unit with a full enclosure.
Oh, that's awesome.
Running full on clipper, and it's
quick?
It is, yeah. It is quite quick.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I haven't tuned it yet. But if you look up the Speedboat Challenge, which I see that you tagged for your video, some of the higher, or I guess the shorter time ones were V0s.
Huh.
Yeah, great little machine.
It's a Core XY our Vorons, like the bed stays. Does the bed move up and down?
Yeah, so only the 2.4 has a stable bed. The other ones have the beds. So the Trident and the V0 have the bed going up and down.
Gotcha.
So this has a cantilevered bed with a Core XY, but the Core XY doesn't move. It stays at the very top of the chamber.
Yep.
Very cool stuff. Like if you ever get the chance, especially like because you like live streaming, I live streamed every minute of building this thing. Yep. And it was about, I think it was something like 26 hours, something like that total.
Oh.
It's a long build.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Multiple days, hopefully.
Yep, definitely.
Okay.
They were 6-hour streams.
Nice.
Geez, we went way off course here. Talking about me instead of talking about you.
Printers, I get my adult Lego fix with building PCs every 2 years. For me, I just want to freaking print. I don't want to mess with the printer. It drives me insane, like actually insane. I want my part to come out as fast as possible and as accurate as possible. I bought 3 P1Ps and I have not looked back. They are so good. They're awesome. Now, obviously, they're not. Well, not obviously. Mine aren't enclosed or anything. I only print PETG, so they're like perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was, the only trouble I have with Bamboo Labs is I love the part that it's just like an appliance, but I don't like the part that's proprietary. I really love open source. And just bringing us back to open source, you said in your very first video that your Hexapod was going to be open source, but you would also supply kits. How are we on that front?
So for the Hexapod, it's not done yet, so no kits yet. But open source wise, all the files except the step files are public. I'm going to sell those, I think. And I am. I mean, not him. So a couple people have asked, and they've bought them from me. But other than that, so like all the STLs, all the code, all the Gerber PCB stuff, it's all on my GitHub. So yeah, I mean that's open source, right? Like,
yep, it is.
Yeah, right. So, yep, yeah. But the kit, I mean the idea is that it's cheaper for me to buy the parts in bulk and then sell them all to you as one thing instead of you sourcing them yourself from Amazon or China or something.
There's definitely a value add for someone to gather all the parts together.
Yeah.
But I do worry because you are an American and a lot of these parts are coming from China. How is that going to work with the tariffs coming up?
Well, I'm going to have the consumer pay 100% of the increase. I don't know what else. I mean, what else am I going to do? Like, I'm just going to hope that it's as low as possible and just increase the price so I'm making the same amount of money. That's about it. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess I can start my own electronics manufacturing company. Yeah, no, like what? Yeah, so
yeah,
we'll see.
So I'm seeing about 15%, or I think it was 15 or 10% tariffs on everything coming in from China, but specific things like electronics and PCBs were like up to like 65% was the proposed rate, which is
I haven't
insane.
heard that, and that makes me sad. But hey, I mean,
yeah, I mean, it sucks. But so now you have kind of a decision to make. Are you gonna order like, 50 grand in stock before January 6th, or?
That's a great question. Yeah, that's a great question. Well, one, I can't because the Hexapod PCB is not even done yet, and I'm gonna be having more PCBs I need in the future. So I can't like go back in time, right? But I'm just I have to do pre-orders. There's no way around it. I don't really have the money to like order what I can't order the stock with my own money. I'm going to run out of money. So if I just do pre-orders, I'll have the money and then I'll use that money to buy the stock. That's it's the only thing I can do. But it's good because then I'll know how much to buy. So
yeah, absolutely. Is it going to be some sort of like, are you going to run your own Shopify store? Or are you going to do?
That's exactly it.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. Heard good things. Lots of people ask me to buy my PCBs that I manufacture and have sent over here.
Yeah.
But I'm like, guys, just buy it from PCBWay. I don't want to maintain a store, have to print
if
your
it's under
info.
100 by 100, then yeah, they should just buy it from PCBWay. If it's over that, though, it's pretty expensive.
Yeah, I mean, how could it be cheaper buying it from me, though? Because
you can buy them in bulk. So if you buy, if let's say it's 150 by 150, it costs like $50-ish to buy 5. Without I don't know if there's any like promotions or stuff, but
there's always promotions.
Yes, so that's fair. But if you buy a bunch, for you it's costing like $3 or $4, $2 or $3 per, and then you sell them for like, I don't know, shipping plus margin, maybe like $10, $15 or something. So they're saving money, you're making money. It's a win-win. But again, if your PCB is under 100 by 100, then
most of them are strategically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
I tried to get the RC controller for PCB. I couldn't though, unfortunately. But
as much as I love my fans, it sounds like a lot of work to make $10.
You're not wrong. I wonder if you could like ship it in an envelope or something. I don't know, like, because that's pretty easy, right? You just shove it in the mailbox.
Canada Post is very strict. They're like, no, if it's not a letter, you're paying parcel post, which minimum to the States is like $9 minimum. So yeah,
you just make them pay. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. But again, just support my sponsor instead, or just support me directly. I don't know what to tell you.
Dude, they just want whatever's cheaper, and I completely understand.
I
do too. So, but it is more work for you. So look, you got to just make the price worth it for you to do. So if that's also cheaper than what it would cost.
It's not going to happen.
So yeah, so there you go.
Because even
not gonna happen.
So people don't understand this either. First of all, YouTube, if I make money off YouTube or selling stuff, I have to pay taxes on that. So there's 35% added to the cost right there, right? Because it's income tax. And then on top of that, running Spotify is not free. Spotify, what am I saying? Shopify.
Hold up really quick. Income tax, that's assuming you take an income, right? Like what if you just put it back into your business?
If you get money, you have to pay taxes on it. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm
yeah, no, it's all good. If I start a corp and then I don't give myself a salary, that's different. But the corporation still has to pay taxes. It's just a little bit less.
There you go. All right.
And right now, because YouTube is like giving me money from sponsorships and AdSense.
Yep.
Like I can't just tell the government like, oh yeah, this money, that was just a
Right.
donation from someone that has nothing to do with YouTube. They'll be like, I'm
Yeah.
taking 35% of that.
Yep.
But then
Yeah.
Shopify, they take a fee, right? It's a flat
True.
fee plus a percent. And then you have to host a website and maintain it. And at the end of the day, I really appreciate that the fans want to buy from me, but it's a lot of work to make $10 is all I'm saying.
I agree. You got to price it to make it worth it for you.
Yeah. And then it won't be worth it for them.
Yep, exactly. So yeah. You should tell them that.
I do.
I know.
I mean,
I'm pretty lucky. My brother is I think he went to college for like finance or whatever. But regardless, he's handling all that crap for me. Like we made a little, I don't even know, business thing. I don't even know, but he's handling all that stuff. So
yeah, good for you.
I don't have to deal with that. Yeah. Can you
Plus,
tell that I don't have to deal with it?
Yeah, I can tell. And a good friend of mine, another maker, he's a software guy, and he accidentally gets into the hardware business because sometimes his software clients need hardware made. And every single time he says it's the biggest mistake in the world to get into the hardware game. So I'm going to stick, if I can see further, it's because I'm standing on the shoulders of giants who came before me. And I trust him when he says it is such a pain in the butt when, to do hardware. So I'm good. It's a lot of work for $10.
I completely agree. I'm not going to sell anything for that cheap. It's not worth my time to walk to the mailbox. So
for sure. And you look at great projects like the Millennium Machines, Milo, Mill, and the Voron team. That's more along the lines of what I want to do. If I design something really cool, I just want to be like, okay, it's on the GitHub. If you don't like the way it works, you fix it. It's open source. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like that's more my philosophy. If I had a life-changing idea that I'd want to monetize, I would just give it away for free because it's life-changing. Like, I'm a weirdo like that. Don't get any of your advice from me, but I'm just at the point where it's like, if it's that great, then everyone should just have it. And if it's not that great, then you should just buy it from PCBWay. What can I tell you? The
problem is you're a good person. That's the issue. Like if you have the cure for cancer, you'd freaking monetize it. No. Depends on the person. Yeah, I hear you. It's a lot easier to give it away than to try to, I don't know. I think surely you could do a little of both, right? Like you made this amazing thing hypothetically. You should be able to like at least live off of it while also giving it away. But I mean, you just don't want to do the work of like monetizing. And
for sure,
it is. Yeah.
And then you get someone like another maker who made User Spice, gives it away for free, and now the vast majority of his clients he gets because they want him to
there
implement.
You go.
Yeah, they want him to implement the User Spice. Like they're like,
he benefits from it. That's good.
They're like, oh yeah, we have a team, and we could pay them whatever 6 months of work to do this, or we could just hire the creator of the project, and he'll get it done in 2 weeks, right?
Give it away for free and have the support be paid. That is a great system.
There we go.
I am thinking of doing some sort of like coaching. So I'm not sure who would want to be coached for me, the jack of all trades, but we'll see. Because in addition to like kits and stuff, I've been thinking about, because I'd love to do this. I don't know, full time, or I'd love to make more money from this.
Yeah,
I don't know, so I could do it more.
Absolutely, me too. But it is what it is. Can we just? I want to talk about your other, because you say you're jack of all trades. But I do want to ask you one thing before we move on from the Hexapod. What possessed you to add a double cup holder to its head?
Great question. So I had an idea for a video. It was I'm just gonna make a bunch of attachments. So I was like, what can I add that's cool but really easy to do? As in like it's not going to take me like a month to build a freaking articulating gun or something, a Nerf gun or something. So cup holder was one of them. I literally just, it's modeling and then screwing it to the top. Actually, that was all of them, just modeling and then screwing it on, basically. I trust me, I had a lot more ideas, but this is what made the cut.
So
it's kind of cool. It was going to be a cat holder, but that didn't.
That can be a bit dangerous. Those servos are quite powerful.
It was heavy.
Yeah.
Cat was heavy. I did not test it, to be clear, but I made the executive decision that this thing could not carry 13 pounds.
So you can add to your GitHub on the bottom that this product was not tested on animals.
That's true. That's not necessarily true. But
the only thing I would really want to add personally to your Hexapod would be a FPV camera, like a first-person view.
Yes, me too. Holy crap, me too.
Because that's easy,
I looked into different kind of solutions. One is like the actual Hexapod can handle that, and the camera is like hooked into it. Or another is like I have an entirely separate system that literally just takes the video feed and sends it to like goggles or something. But ultimately, well, if you can find something like that, I would love to just like link it for people, and I'd love to buy it myself because it's so freaking cool.
I bought
that would make a great video.
You can buy all-in-ones, FPV all-in-ones. So they're just a polarized antenna, 5.8 gigahertz, and then you just get the matching goggles, and you're good to go. So the camera, the receiver, the transmitter, and all that stuff is built into one. Actually, it's very small. It's probably about an inch by an inch with the little antenna sticking up.
What's the damage?
They're like $40 or something on AliExpress.
The whole thing? No, there's. What?
And then the goggles. Then the goggles about $80.
Yeah. Oh, 80? Really? Wow.
Yeah. I'll send you the links after.
When researching, I didn't look too hard into AliExpress. So maybe I should have. Wow. Yeah, please. I will buy that, and I will make a video on that because that will be good content at the very least. Wow. I can make like a mount for it too. That's sick.
Yeah, because AliExpress is the whole reason why I do electronics, because everything is so much cheaper there, right? Like, it's insane. You can buy like 9-gram servos to make little things, and they're like $2 a pop or something like that. Like, tiny.
Yep. Very cheap. It's amazing.
So yeah, I'll send you the links after, but the brand you're looking for is Eachine, EACHINE.
I'm not going to remember any of this.
That's fine.
Yeah, just
for anyone listening.
Just send me the links. Yeah.
But yeah,
I
already ordered a set, so I actually have it here because I'm going to put it on my snow speeder for this year, so I can.
Nice. Oh, dude, that's going to be so cool.
Yeah, so I could sit in the car where it's warm because it'll be like -40 outside, and then I can just drive it from there.
Around. Oh, that's going to be so cool.
Yeah, the other thing I've learned from making my own engineering projects is to add hard points, like add mounting points for stuff.
I did that. Yep.
Yeah, because my other snow speeder, I had to Velcro the GoPro to the battery, and that's just in front of the spinning blades. And so, if it ever came loose, it would just get sucked into the fan and broke into a million pieces.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's
hard
funny.
points.
I did that with the Hexapod. I haven't used. Cup holder used them actually. But because like otherwise you'll have to either Velcro or reprint the whole thing. So I just added holes, heated insert holes.
Yeah, great design technique to use those heated inserts.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. If you're planning on unscrewing at least even just one time, then I would highly recommend using them.
All right, so let's talk about your other passions. So you are a self-proclaimed game dev, but I do want to hit on something you said earlier in the podcast. You said it's become obvious to you now why people aren't watching your game dev stuff. So can you tell us about what you're developing and why you think people aren't watching?
Okay, so for the game dev, my most recent kind of project was a tower defense game where it's pretty freaking cool. I think the idea is amazing, but ideas don't really matter. A tower defense game where you basically craft custom towers. That's pretty much it. You can watch the videos if you want, but the devlogs were great. They are, even looking back, for people who are me. So if you're me, you'll find them very interesting. But they didn't do a great job pulling other people in. I feel like the problem, one, they're they're kind of boring for, again, people that are not me. And they're also, it's not, it's like, I'm not really deciding if they're tutorial teaching-ish videos or devlog entertainment videos. I needed to pick one. I should have, the entertainment route is where I should have gone. But I went with a little of both. So that means you're not really learning anything because they're not super in depth. And then if you're watching for entertainment, your eyes gloss over very quickly once I start teaching things. So yeah, they did get a decent, I say decent, like 500 to 1,500 views per, but that's of people who are interested in the project. And so the videos are cool to them, but it's I don't know, it's just not enough.
I mean, put it in perspective though, that's still above about 95% of the video content on YouTube. Let's be honest here. YouTube
That's fair.
Isn't easy, and game dev is sort of like a niche within a niche, right? A nesting doll of niches, because you've got the development space and then people who want to do game dev. To me, I always joke with my wife that game developers is where developers go if they don't want to make any money, essentially. I mean, it's sad to say, but the industry is so rough on game developers. That, I mean, this is why this year there was like a big flop in the, lots of games came out, like Concord comes to mind for PlayStation 5, which was so horrible that they pulled it off the shelves within 2 weeks.
Concord had other issues. But I hear you.
But it's essentially management getting in the way of game devs, right? In the end, I believe. At least that's what I believe.
For Concord, yeah, that's fair.
So, so you're looking at a niche within a niche, and then you're saying you have that little bit of identity issue. So I can see that can cause problems for sure. But someone like Pirate Software, I don't know if you know him.
I do.
He's a dev of some sort. I think he was a game dev, and
IQA, I believe. Yeah,
he's getting ridiculous view counts.
Yeah,
like, there is a market, but I guess, I don't know. Sometimes you don't get what you deserve on YouTube. You only get what you get.
I'm not sure if there is a bit of luck-ish, but not. It's mostly just if people watch your video, YouTube will have more people. It'll show your video to more people, and if they watch it, it'll show it even more and more and more. And I think, oh man, Pyro Software. I don't watch him a ton, but people like his takes. They like what he says. And he's very knowledgeable, and he's the views show that he got results. It's impressive. I wish, I don't watch him very much, so I can't really say that much more about him. But
yeah, me neither. He's just really good at MS Paint on the fly. People accuse him of having a drawing tablet, but he's just drawing with his mouse.
With his mouse. Yeah. That's funny.
So, have you finished any games, or are you still in development?
Yeah, I have a game on Steam. I've just not finished Towercraft. Yeah, Laser Bounce. It's a mobile game. I made it for mobile specifically, and some people that had iPhones couldn't play it. Didn't want to buy an Apple device, so instead I just put it on Steam so they could play it.
Like through a compatibility? Oh no, wait, it's for mobile, but they can play it on their PC.
I designed it as a mobile game, and I just put it on Steam so other people can play it. Yeah.
Okay, so 2 user reviews on Steam.
Dude, the one guy, oh my god.
Oh yeah,
he was having a bad day or something.
Oh, I see one negative review. Oh boy.
It's wild. It's hilarious. Honestly.
Well then, so how far along? So I didn't actually know you had a game dev channel. I assumed when I saw it in your bio, it was just that you were doing that for a living. So, like, how far along is your tower defense game?
Okay, so I made a pretty good demo, like MVP of it. Minimal viable product of it. But so then I wanted to make the entire thing. I wanted to make it for real in Godot, and I got pretty far. I was teamed up with one other person who was doing the art This is where our problems occurred. He was great, but the problem was he was a 2D artist and the game was 3D, so he had to basically like learn 3D modeling, which is relatable with me learning CAD.
With
but
what you just went through. Yep.
Yeah, and that's fine. And he was making great progress. Unfortunately, it's essentially working for free when you need money doesn't. It's tough. And so it kind of, I don't know. He wasn't able to continue, and I got to a point where I needed art, and also I was running into the project was getting pretty big, and the game wasn't bad, but it wasn't great, and the fixes that needed to be made were not even fixes, just like potential fixes, required a lot of refactoring, and videos weren't doing great, and it's like lots of stuff. So then I made a hexapod. That's basically what happened.
So I can see now what you mean by your hexapod was what you chose to do, because compared to developing a game pretty much by yourself, it's a big difference. It's a lot easier, I think, than designing a whole game.
Yes, and no art. It is art, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, I disagree about the no art, because you going into Blender and creating something that's not only mechanical, but also it has
it looked pretty
theme.
Cool.
Yeah, of course. There was a design language behind that, right? All the angular things. It was kind of like a Terminator robot of some sort. But the new one is a little bit more sleek, I would say, a little bit more roundy.
Yeah, new one just embraces the what's it called? I have Fusion 360. It embraces the fillet.
Yeah. Very much so.
I don't. Yeah. So with nice chamfered edges and easy to 3D print, I assume people will change it if they want to. It's a nice like base for people to do whatever they want. But sorry, what were we talking about?
I'm just saying that game dev is not easy, and so I can see why you went into.
So yes, exactly. I can model, right? Like with my laser bounce game. I made all the model. I mean, it's super super simple, but I can do it. It's just I'm not an artist, and I can't make video game art. But yeah, like the Hexapod, like I just did my super simple like polygon modeling, whatever, low poly modeling, and then print it, and I've got art. Whereas with the YouTube videos whereas with the game dev videos, there's just programmer art, and people don't like looking at that for some reason.
No.
And because obviously my artist was still making art, and so I didn't have that for the videos. But yeah, so I got built-in art for me with this. It's great, which is probably partly why the videos did better. Like, imagine these videos, but it was just like a ROS simulation. I don't think they would have done as well.
I don't know what a ROS is.
For robotics, it's a robotics simulator.
Oh,
basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So
imagine the videos, but like they're just simulated. They're not actually real. I like the robots. I think it would. I don't think it would have done as well.
And I think I get it too, because code is not a visual medium per se. Like your game is, but there's only so much you can do visually. Like it's not like you can be
so much I can do. Yeah, personally.
Yeah, it's not like you're walking around in the game fixing code. You have...
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah. I mean, I can demo the game and stuff. Like I can demo the fixes, but the problem is they're just all programmer art.
Yeah.
Gray boxes, basically. And I could spend more time making it nice, but I'd rather not do that.
I mean, I can see, okay, wow, you have 221 videos. That's a lot on your Aecert Gaming channel.
Yep.
4,500 subscribers. And again, like you're in the top 90% for sure. And if I'm checking your most popular, you have 40,000 views. But I think that's just you playing a game. Lock.
So yeah, before I went into Github, that game was on Dreams. I assume you've not heard of it. Maybe you have.
No.
Okay, so how do I describe this? It's a game engine on the PlayStation. Okay. So have you heard of Little Big Planet?
Yes.
Okay, great. Makers of Little Big Planet. It's like Little Big Planet, but 3D. Is that
Okay.
right? So that's what it is. It's like their next game, the Media Molecule's next game. It's not. They've moved on from it now. Hence, well, but anyway, that's kind of what I based my gaming channel around. And when you base your channel around a game and then that game gets abandoned, not great. But so yeah, so that game, the 40K view one, was for me playing a game that was made in Dreams. I was making my games in Dreams. I made Laser Bounce in Dreams, and I ended up porting it, like recreating it in Godot. I made the tower defense game in Dreams. I've made probably a dozen finished games in Dreams. That's where I got my game dev experience. I consider myself a pretty good game dev, actually, but game dev is hard, man. It's to make a finished game. It's
no doubt, like for sure. I can see. Yeah, it's obvious that your channel is obviously it's a niche, and also it looked like you were at sort of the beginning of your YouTube career, because if I look at your Aecert Robotics, your thumbnails are more refined. Your titles are better.
Hey, I had a chance. I had the opportunity to make a brand new channel, and I've had, what year is it? 2025.
Almost 2025.
11, maybe 10 years of YouTube experience. So I went all in and tried to make it as clean and professional as I could. So yeah, I'm glad you like the thumbnails.
Yeah, it looks. Something is working. I don't know if you're seeing the numbers on your end, but the controller case, the last video you put out, it reached me where
it did.
Nothing else
it did.
reached.
I'm very happy with how it went.
So it's being shared around. It's obvious, and I invited you on here, and hopefully some of my viewers go and subscribe to your channel. And this is how we grow.
Great. Frankly, subscribe or not, I don't care. Watch the videos though, and leave comments. I do that. That helps me personally. Sub if you want to see more though. I am very, very happy with how that video did. Mainly because I was worried that the only people are. I was worried that only Hexapod videos would do well on this channel. But clearly, people do like other stuff. When I say people, I mean viewers of my channel do like other stuff, just not the first two. I'm ignoring the 3D printed miniature Hexapod video, but they clearly don't really like boring RC controller videos, but they do like interesting RC controller videos that have a finished product. I think the issue, I think the reason that video did well was twofold. One, the thing actually is done. Like I finished it, and people like that. They like seeing something that's finished. Okay, threefold. Two, I forgot two. Oh my god. Oh, two, I changed the style of the video. So for all my other videos, actually, I would just do the project, film stuff, and then at the end, I'd write a script, and then like film myself saying the entire script and use that footage. With this video, I just in the moment as I'm making stuff, I would record the actual footage with the actual like what I'm saying for the video, and it felt more like I assume for people it felt like you're actually like building it with me, you're experiencing it with me like in real time. We'll see if that's the reason it did better, but I think that's part of it. And then what was the third reason? Oh my god, what was the first reason was it was finished. The second was the new style. I swear there was a third. I don't remember the third.
I have no idea.
That's okay. I know. I mean, how would you know? But yeah. So we'll see. I'm gonna be using this style more. We will see if that does make any difference. But
I do see a little bit of like sort of new media influence in your videos. Like there was one video where you're looking at the camera and you said, "Come over here," and you zoomed in the camera.
That was the first video. Yeah. Yeah, that was.
There were a few
people on TikTok did that. And I thought it was funny. So
for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing this. I'm seeing you have some good comedic timing in some spots. So I think you have what it takes. It just you just keep going. I mean, I don't think you're doing anything.
Thanks. Yeah, no,
wrong.
I agreed. Trying to work on like how much humor or if any to add in. I'm trying to keep it entertaining. That's my goal, but not like obnoxious. I'm trying. Yeah, I mean, still, even compared to the first video, compared to my last, I'm still developing as a YouTuber and like developing my style. I think with this last video though, I found something I really like. I'm actually Hacksmith. I'm sure most people have heard of them. Have you heard of them? The
Yep.
Hacksmith YouTube. Yeah, okay.
They are Canadian.
Are they really? I've recently, actually, after I finished my most recent video, I watched like 5 or 6 of their videos, and it's a very similar style of like they're just recording footage in the moment and they're explaining what they're doing and showing what they're doing, and it's a really cool devlog style that I mean, obviously it works well. They've proven it works well. Frankly, I'm kind of stupid for not copying them sooner, but I'm going to now. And this most recent video wasn't even copying them because, again, as I said, I watched their videos after I had published this one, but I definitely need to do what they're doing.
Out of curiosity, have you watched their Hexapod video?
I did. Yeah.
With the Princess Auto, aka that's our Harbor Freight up here, but they're Harbor Freight excavators essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they too heavy. A little bit too heavy.
I mean, they've got the ambition though. Like, I don't blame them for trying.
I love that they tried. I wish they got it freaking working because it's the coolest thing. It's so cool. I know for a fact that if I made a rideable hexapod, it would go mega viral. I just can't afford it. It would get so popular. Just like a 5-second clip of me riding a freaking hexapod. Or even just like a toddler ride. Like not even like an adult hexapod or hexapod that an adult can ride. Like if I made like a mid-sized hexapod, if that makes sense, that like a 10-year-old could ride. You know those little rideable cars that little kids have? Yep. Yeah, like that, but a hexapod, that would go viral. And by viral, I mean like a couple million views. Oh my God, it would but it's so freaking expensive. Oh, yeah, it's like that would cost about $5,000 probably, and 6 months of my time. So
hydraulics are super simple as well. Way
hydraulics?
Oh yeah, way simpler than servos. Way.
I would probably attempt to use electric motor, like giant electric motors. But
then
yeah,
you're looking at $5,000 per motor then.
Oh Lord,
to support not that big. Pounds.
A smaller kid.
You probably.
God, are they 100 pounds? No, there's no way those.
Well, no, but
there's no way toddlers are 100 pounds.
There's the frame weight as well, right? So unless you had cycloidal drives, but then cycloidal drives, you're going to be spending like months 3D printing these things. You have to source pins and.
Yeah, no, cycloidal drives are kind of they need a lot of bearings. But I was thinking some sort of like string driven, like capstan.
Oh my God, like that
drives. Yeah, because like hexapod, they don't have to spin around 360. They're the joints, right? So, and I think that would work pretty well. But
you're still okay. So, but you're still looking at $200 per O drive, right? Because you need an O drive, and then
like I said, $5,000, 200, and then like what, 500 per motor times 18, 700. Yeah. Okay, maybe my math is
a little bit.
That's
off.
Okay though. $5,000 to $10,000. $5,000 to $10,000. Hey, look.
You're using an integer, but you need to use a long here.
Yeah.
A little bit of programmer humor there.
Yeah.
All right. Look, I've got a question that I ask every single one of my guests. Can I throw it to you?
Yeah, I know what it is. I've been watching your podcast, and I didn't plan a freaking answer.
Well, you have only you to blame. All right, so you get a grant to start the business of your dreams. Doesn't have to be profitable because the grant would top you up, but it does have to provide a service or a product. What kind of business would you open?
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's probably similar to what I'm doing, what I'm trying to do with this YouTube channel right now. And it's like make cool robotics projects. I say cool, I mean just like projects that others would want to build. I make those and then I sell kits so others can make them too. That'd be great. The alternative, the other kind of thing, because like that's a little bit of cop out because that's literally what I'm trying to do right now. Basically that, but for other companies. So like they would hire my hypothetical company to design them a robot. I don't know why they need robots, but because I mean, most companies need like robotic arms to like move things in factories or something. So and that's not really what I'm doing. So I guess I go with my first answer of what I'm doing right now, except cooler and more expensive things. But I'm not sure if that answer is allowed. Is that allowed?
What if I told you there's no such thing as a cop-out answer? The question is designed to tease out what you should be doing versus what you are doing. It's essentially open-ended by purpose. And it's just to see like where your head's at. Like, what would you do if money wasn't a question?
Yeah, right. And I would do this, but full-time. That's what I would be doing. Yeah.
What I kind of understood from right before I asked the question is that you would be endangering toddlers. So
look. Yeah, they would be in more danger if they ride by thing. You're not wrong.
But I mean, yes, I completely get the thought of it. Like the wife and I, look, I know I'm never going to win the lottery, but the lottery here got up really high. I got it to $80 million, which is
nice.
Which is a lot, especially because in Canada, you don't get taxed on lottery winnings. So there's that.
Oh, that's good.
So you get to keep all of it, but they are in Canadian dollars. And we were talking about what we would do if we won the lottery. And essentially, I would want to do what I'm doing already.
Yeah.
But in a space where I'm not like size restrained, like restrained by the size. Because I've got a corner of the basement here.
Yeah, you said your office was 1,000 by 1,000 millimeters, I think.
I don't know. It's tiny.
I'm joking. No, but you said your 500 by 500 printer took up a fourth of it. I'm aware the printer is bigger than but yeah.
It's quite small, and hobbies and stuff. They're like a gas. They fill any volume.
That is exactly right.
So I'd like to do this, and I'd also like to do an automotive channel because I'm an automotive professor, because I'm a mechanic by trade, and I think that has much more broad appeal, but I've got nowhere to work. Like I can't.
Yeah, that's tough.
Like just this morning, there was 6 inches of snow in my driveway, which would be my only workspace on cars, right? So
sure,
it's just not doable. So essentially the question is to see like, if money wasn't a factor, what would you be doing?
Right.
And for you, endangering toddlers, and that's completely fine.
Look, they'd be fine. All right. I would make sure there were safety precautions.
Yeah, I would have to see the shape of your roll cage first. If it was like flat and they laid on top of it, or if it was domed and they were inside it, before I'd make up my mind.
Roll cage? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it'd be very, very padded. No, look, worst case, the thing shuts off and it falls like a foot and they bruise their butt. But
whatever.
Wow, okay, that's probably not worst case.
Toddlers are indestructible.
True.
They can fall down the stairs and then get up, look around, and if nobody looks surprised, then they'll just walk away giggling. If people are like, "Oh my God, what just happened?" then they start crying.
Yeah, that's true. Actually.
Oh, toddlers.
Yeah.
Well, we're towards the end of the podcast. Is there anything you'd like to tell my captive audience here?
Jeez. Well, I mean, that's not a just complete advertisement of what I'm doing. Or...
Oh, you can. Go ahead.
Yeah.
This is your platform. It's like at the end of Hot Ones, except I didn't force you to eat hot wings. Don't have the budget for that.
That's funny. I highly recommend checking out just my like what? How many videos do I have? 10, 8, 9, 1, 2,
11.
3, 4, 5, 11. Yeah. If you're interested in like, Robotics or Hexapods or whatever, definitely check out the videos or join my Discord, I guess. I don't know. I feel kind of weird
No, that's
saying
fine.
that on your channel, but yeah, no,
I don't even have a Discord.
I would, man,
Trust me.
I would recommend it.
I work enough as it is.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I have a lot of plans for not just hexapods, but just, as I said, just cool robotics projects. So if you want to be a part of that, I guess, yeah, come on over. But what else? Feel free to. I'm sure my other channels. I have an origami YouTube channel and as we talked about, a game dev one. So those will be linked. I have a fourth one as well, but we're not gonna.
Yeah, apparently
that one's not gonna. You're gonna have to find that one.
This one's secret, apparently.
Yeah, secret. I was like 15. It was my very first YouTube channel.
Is it Minecraft? Is it Minecraft?
I had a Minecraft video that did very well on it, actually.
There we go.
Yeah.
Do you have a Patreon?
I do not have it. If you want to support me currently, go on to any of my Aecert Robotics videos and leave it's called a super thanks or something. You can leave a paid comment or something. That is the currently best way.
That is a quite simple way too, because there's not the
exactly.
platform hopping necessary.
You get to say something. Yeah,
that's right.
Yep.
So here's the big question for people who stayed all the way to the end of the podcast. Once the Hexapod is done, because you did announce that there's going to be a finished version.
Yep.
Where's your focus turning to? Can you tease that a little bit?
Yeah. Another Hexapod, actually. It's I've already started working on basically a smaller hexapod. The current hexapod uses these 35 kilogram servos. This micro hexapod, it's going to use micro servos, right? Which are 2 kilogram ish strength. The numbers don't really matter. Just know that they're smaller and weaker. This one is going to be 6 times cheaper. Just as cool, but smaller. So I think, because the current one it's going to cost $700 or something. This one's going to be less than 2, maybe $150. Really cheap. I think the next hexapod, the micro hexapod's going to do really well, because the difference between $150 and $700 is massive. For people trying to get into robotics. Robotics is expensive. If you didn't know,
you decided to start with a hexapod.
I know.
So everything times 6. You could have made a single leg balancing robot, and it would only cost 3 servos.
It's so many legs.
Just for my viewers in Myanmar, Liberia, and the United States, 35 kilogram servos are equivalent to 77 pound servos. So it's quite a bit of force is what he's trying to get across here.
Mm-hmm. I just sent you the forbidden, my first YouTube channel.
I'll check it off air.
Yeah. But yeah, it's going to do really well. It's going to be really cool. Just imagine you guys see my hexapod in the videos. Imagine that, but smaller. No crap. But half the size. It's half the size, 1/6 of the cost. It's going to be so cool. And that's kind of why I did the controller first. It kind of looks like, and it looks like it because that's exactly what happened. It looks like I stopped doing the Hexapod project to work on the controller. It's because if I released a freaking Hexapod with no way to control it, it's kind of dumb. And my plan was to make kits, right? So I'm starting with the controller, and then I'm going to release kits that the controller can control. So I'll bundle the controller kit in with the other kits, so you can actually control it. That's my plan anyway. We'll see how that works out.
Just to give the audience an idea, I found a 4-pack of 35 kilogram servos on AliExpress, pretty much as cheap as you can get them. And they are $78 for a 4-pack. That's Canadian. Let me just do the 78 CAD to real money. So that's $55 for 4 of them. And how many do you need again? It's 3
18,
times 6.
yeah.
You need 18.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna look up the ones I get because that's pretty close. I think you can get them for cheaper though. I just ordered 20 of them. 20 because 4 times you can't divide 18 by 4.
Yeah. So I'm looking. It's about $250
Here.
just in servos.
USD.
USD.
All right, mine not including shipping and tax was $180. This might have it's a little bit lower because I bought them nearish Black Friday, whatever. So they were doing like a sale, but hold on. Slight lie. I bought 16 for 171, and then I bought an additional 4 for $40. Here, I'm just gonna here. This is the specific servo that I'm using. The DS3230 Pro, 180 degrees. Yeah, it's expensive, but at least it's not like I was using servos that were 20 a piece, and oh my lord, oh my god,
very expensive stuff. Very expensive hobby.
Yeah.
So, so thank you very much for coming onto the podcast. I really appreciate.
Thanks for having me.
Hearing your story, and I hope people will go check out your stuff. I hope we built a small, maybe a small contingency to buy some kits when they're available, which are going to be a little bit higher than we wanted to because of the tariffs, but that's fine.
We'll
do you have an approximate ETA, or maybe like is the website already made so someone can join like a wait list or something?
Wait list is basically joining my Discord, or I guess being sub to my YouTube channel. You'll know when it's out, but website's not made yet. I'm not. It's going to be pretty bare bones for at least the first kit, the remote control kit. Maybe like next month. Hexapod kit, probably 2 to 3 months. But I don't know. And that's with me adding more time than how long I actually think it'll take. But
do you have an idea?
We'll see.
How much you're going to be charging for, let's say, the remote control kit and the Hexapod kit?
So remote control, I have a very, very good idea about that. It's on sale. These are not set numbers. Okay. Just to be clear, on sale, I'm aiming for $99. And then when I say on sale, that means I'll make it on sale for the first week it comes out, and I'll make it on sale when I bundle it with another kit.
Okay.
And then not on sale like $130 or something. And then plus shipping and handling and tax and stuff. I am not covering the shipping or tax. So if you live in freaking Europe or something, it's
Australia.
I don't know. Yeah, or Australia. Yeah. Yeah. So that's $99 and then like $130-ish. And then for the Hexapod, geez, dude, like $500 to $800.
Yep, it's expensive.
I don't know.
And shipping is going to be ridiculous too, because those servos weigh a ton.
Yes, you are correct.
But that's the price of robotics, man.
Yep. Now that if it's not clear, that's not how much it costs me to buy the parts. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not going to say how much it costs. You can figure that out yourself.
Yeah, you need to give yourself a margin.
Yeah,
sure.
there is a margin to make it worth my time.
Yeah, or else, again, it would be a shit ton of work for $10
for free. Yeah, exactly.
All right, so I hope that people will go onto your videos and comment something nice. If you guys have negative comments, keep them to yourselves. And
you can DM me your negative comment.
There we go. And we're gonna hopefully catch listeners on the next one. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.